Realized I should do that. If you haven't heard us, hi everyone. We just turned on our audio.
Oh, no! That is crazy.
We've just turned on our audio. So let's this is a big giant prototype, so we're testing everything as we go here. So forgive us if you've had some issues checking in with us. We did send out a link that didn't. Our software crashed, and then we had to reload everything, which meant also setting up a new link.
It's all good.
This is what we learned when we fail,
Absolutely.
right? Failure, yay!
This is what innovation is all about.
Let's start again, everyone. Hi, we're here. This is ChangeMaker Live, an online stream. We're having a monthly conversation with the ChangeMaker here in Calgary. And it's based here at our co-working space in Southeast Calgary on International Avenue. It's called Emerge Hub. Emerge Hub is a co-working space in Southeast Calgary. We value the people and your ideas. So we want people to, we all support individuals from generation to execution of their projects, business plans, or change-making actions. We're getting phone calls as we speak, so a huge team behind this whole thing taking care of that. Please check out our website at emergehub.ca, where you can find out information about what we offer in terms of co-working amenities and services and support, and also you can sign up for a monthly newsletter that comes out and detailing different opportunities and programs that we have. There's a calendar here behind us that's packed with stuff. At least 2 times a week we have events and programs happening here. Today we are speaking with Alison Karim-McSwiney, take 2. And I just want to make sure everything is running smoothly behind the scenes here. Good, okay. So, Alison Karim-McSwiney is the Executive Director of International Avenue Revitalization Zone, also known as International Ave BRZ, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. She is a graduate of the University of Calgary and is certified as an International Place Manager. She has 20 years of experience as a place manager and is the recipient of many awards. Her recent successes include securing land for an art center and $176 million for the multimodal redesign and infrastructure improvements along the business high street with affordability and inclusivity as key components. Alison has been instrumental in bringing innovative community initiatives to International Avenue and Greater Forest Lot. The Calgary Herald chose her as one of the top mavericks of Alberta. So we are very excited to talk to Alison as our first prototype of this ChangeMaker Live series. Hi, Alison.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
I've drank too much coffee. We've had some technical issues. We're online now. Things are working.
It's all good. It's all good.
Everything's. I hope we don't crash. Let's not crash. So, Alison, let's begin with your story. What's your story? Where does it begin? And why community economic development and your work here at International Avenue? How'd you get here?
Very funny story, actually. So back in 1993, they were looking for the very first business revitalization zone manager, and I actually was working as a landscape designer, and I actually, in taking some schooling, I had to do a project for a BRZ, which was downtown. Anyway, so with that, I actually came and got interviewed out here, and what struck me was how incredibly interesting this area was. I loved that you could go into a store and you were literally transported to other parts of the world. Things were unique, but one thing that struck me is I felt that the infrastructure was substandard. I felt that it had a lot of positives that weren't really truly being embraced, and that things needed to happen. So I had a real excitement on how this area could actually work out, and from there they hired me, and I pretty much have been in this role for about 20 years. I've left a couple of times to take another job with the Downtown Association for a short period, and then of course had some children. So anyway, I've pretty much always had my finger on the pulse, and always tried to be connecting with many incredible people out here.
Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the branding that came, were you the one that initiated this whole International Lab brand, or was that there before you, or?
It actually was something that was discussed among the board. So International Avenue was really, we looked at a number of things. often what happens with revitalization projects is you look at the assets. And of course, we look from a historical component, very little historical buildings out here, and something that we felt that we couldn't really capitalize on. But one thing that we did note that was extremely interesting and different than other parts of Calgary, but also other parts of Canada, frankly, was the international component that was here. And because of that, we felt that it was very special. Often what happens with a number of enclaves is you will have like a Chinatown, or you'll have an Italy, Little Italy, but you won't have an actual international world environment within one central part of a city. And so we felt that that was extremely important. So it mainly was the board who came up with it, with a number of engagements that happened. But it was generally, obviously, the businesses who helped to pick that.
Right. And so when you got here, there was already, I mean, what's this tagline? It's like, what, 65 cultures in, or how many cultures in?
Actually, well, we have many cultures, but
in how many blocks?
We have around the world in 35 blocks. So yeah, and that came later. What was interesting is when I first started, it was called East Side 17 actually, and then it went into International Avenue. I think 1994 with the name change.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're speaking with Alison Karim-McSwiney, Executive Director of International Avenue BRZ. This is a live conversation, live stream, so there are in the chat, I think it's on that side or this side, whatever side of the video that you're watching. Please feel free to type in your questions, and we have people behind the scenes here who are going to take those questions from us, and we will ask them later to Alison. So Alison, who's your role model? Or have you had a series of role models? You know, what's a role model today that you have?
I'm not sure that I have a specific role model for this particular job, but I do try and, well, there are a number of people that I consider to be my heroes, one being Noam Chomsky. I'm really big on his intellectual writings. I think he's amazing. I'm also a huge fan and always look up to all the work that Michael Moore is doing. I think that you need to be a bit of a innovator in a number of things, and you need to question things, and I think that that's what makes the area unique and what my job is, frankly. That's who I really, I think, connect with or at least look up to the most.
So you've been with International for 20 years. You've seen the neighborhood grow, change, develop into what it is today. Could you tell me about a project or an accomplishment that you consider to be the most sort of significant in your career in these 20 years?
Oh boy, that's a good one. I think we've done many things, many crazy things, let me tell you. I look back and go, what were we thinking? Anyway, but that being said, I think one of the most interesting things is we looked at what we felt were issues that actually were hindering the revitalization and improvement of this area. And the one strictly was the lack of planning in this area. We felt that there was many positive things that could be incorporated into the street. The key component was it was strictly an auto-oriented area, although we had 40% of our users that were not using the automobile. So there was lack of sidewalks, there was high transit use, there was bikes, but yet there was no way for these people to travel and move around the actual area. So one project that we did way back in 1994, 95, we actually went to the city, we talked about some of these issues. We looked at what the existing plans were for the area, and there was a plan from 1976. We felt that that plan would be detrimental to the area, so we actually created a new plan. We hired our experts, we had architects, we had landscape designers. And the plan we came up with is actually very forward-thinking, I have to say. When I look back at it, I see that there was traffic calming, many of Jane Jacobs' theories, eyes on the street, wider sidewalks, community spaces, buildings up at the front, contiguous building fronts, those kind of things. But I will tell you that when we actually went in there with a plan and we actually showed it to a large group of people at the city, we literally were laughed out. Literally laughed out, said that we were crazy. So we thought, okay, so this isn't going to work. We're not going to be able to get tons of money and redo the street like we think. So let's see what else we can do. So we started working on small steps to get us there. And so we did all sorts of interesting things. Like, for instance, it's called forest lawn, but yet there were no trees. And we just thought, what a crazy thing, let's plant some trees. So we planted 325 trees. And one thing that's interesting with this new redesign of the street, a number of those trees had to be removed. And one of the crazy ideas that I had was, you know, these trees were planted by the businesses, they were a benefit and made the community look much nicer. To cut them down is a real shame. So let's see if we can actually dig them up and relocate them and offer them to other parts of the city to have a little bit of forest lawn. Well, the program was an administrative nightmare. And I have to give kudos to Mark Shields, who was working with me on that project. We all thought we were going to lose our minds. But I will tell you, we were able to actually relocate 150 trees. And so I would say that that's one of my most interesting things, even though we had done something way back when with the trees and it'd be very important. We didn't want to totally erase the importance of what that was, and we wanted to share it with the rest of Calgary. So many people have our large, beautiful trees that have 20 years of growth on them.
Wow.
And they're
Do you know where in Calgary some of these trees are?
We had all over. We even had some that were outside. I know that we've heard from a number of people that, oh, our tree's flowering, and we're so happy. So yeah, so we thought that that was kind of an interesting thing. So
we're just checking. We're just wondering if their comments are turned off on here. We're just going to check really quickly, just to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Okay, it's our comments back on? Okay, comments are back on. So that's interesting. So if anybody knows if there's any forest lawn trees in your neighborhood, we'd love to hear from you. And so please leave your comments in the comment section. So we're constantly making things bigger, faster, smarter, and less expensive. We leverage technology and improve processes. So in other words, we strive to do more with less. Can you tell me about a recent project or problem that you made better with less money?
Oh goodness, everything we have is with less money. I mean, I'm sorry, Kevin. We have been a bare bones operation for so long.
And some people might not even know that, you know, like, because they associate us with business.
Oh yeah, I mean, our when we first started, our budget was $125,000, and let me tell you, that's not a lot to run an office and to do special events and all those things. Many things we do are bare bones, and we find unique ways to leverage other things and bring in our other stakeholders. There's many great things that have happened. I'm just trying to think of. I'd say, you know, even something simple like we do our murals. We have cultural murals up and down. Often we don't have the type of money to play around to pay the artists what they're worth. We definitely want artists to be paid a living wage, if not better. So we often have a bare bone budget, but we leverage a lot of support from sponsorships and a number of other people, which I think is kind of interesting and things that we do. So.
I mean, that brings up in...
Oh, I do have one other thing.
Okay.
Interesting, when we were trying to do small steps to get us there, people knew that we didn't have a lot of money. So literally, I had some people call me up. These guys were from the roads department, and they said, you know, Alison, we have a whole bunch of old light poles. Would you like to buy them for $1 and repaint them and take them? I'm like, absolutely. So we actually installed 7 light poles and redesigned them and everything and put them in. So we were doing that quite a bit. Like people would say, we have something, how can you use it? And so we did utilize a lot of things, but that was probably the best deal that we ever made, $1 for those.
Wow. Are those still here?
Unfortunately, they have now been removed because we have brand new infrastructure coming in. Yeah.
Tell me about the impact that you want to have on International Ave and the adjacent neighborhoods.
Well, we certainly want to make it an affordable, enjoyable, culturally rich, wonderful experience for people. We want people to feel safe. We want people to find the goods that they need. We want them to feel that they are part of the community, the business community, as well as the residential community. So we really want it to be how I've always kind of viewed it, as a village, really. Yeah.
And 20 years, what have you, what do you think you've solved?
Oh, well, we've solved we've solved a lot of safety issues. We've won a safety award. We work very closely with our Calgary Police Service, who have been phenomenal. There's been a number of innovations that have been created out of here. So we think that we've certainly made it safer. We certainly have made it, still, we didn't want to make it so it would price people out of the market. We think that there needs to be safe and affordable and, frankly, beautiful art. Interesting things about affordable neighborhoods is often you don't see the quality of art that you'd see maybe in the downtown core. So we've been very careful to make sure that we procure art and make the area welcome for everyone. So I think that's one thing that we can be fairly proud of. I think also we've been fairly innovative. For instance, when we first did our trees, we were concerned that the boxes that generally are used in traditional landscaping are a 6x6 coffin, I like to call them. So the actual longevity of the tree is not really foremost. So we worked with our landscape architect to create what are called tree trenches. And so we had a number of trees that were within a very long trench of incredible soil mass. That's why a number of those trees did so well. And of course, this street is extremely busy. 29 to 30,000 vehicles a day are traveling on it. So as a result, there's a lot of pollution, there's a lot of things. So I feel we did a good job with that as well. And it's actually become quite a standard in the industry, so we're very pleased. I'd say also connectivity and working with the communities have been pretty substantial. We helped to form a community safety initiative that actually is a well-respected, functioning organization that's totally separate from us now, but is connecting with communities on issues of safety and a number of other things that are important to them. So we're also really pleased about that. Again, the murals were brand new for us, and we made sure that the process within that public art program was inclusive of the community. They were the ones who were picking the artists. They were the ones who actually talked about the what they wanted to see, and that's how all of our murals have been actually done. It hasn't been us who have actually done that. It's been the community that's picked it, and we think that that's a pretty innovative way, and frankly, a very smart way that all things should be done.
You know, you bring a point that's of interest for me, and I think a lot of the people that might be watching in the sort of arts and culture realm. You know, there's a big discussion about public art and the relationship that public art and business can have. And can you speak a little bit to that? Because I think a lot of times people think that art sort of lives in its own silo, and that it's just like, oh, those artists. But I think there's like can you speak more to like what you've tried to do with the artBOX and like with, you know, and stuff with even your Merge Hub, and trying to you know, ingrain that art and culture are not separate, that they're actually supporting each other.
Well, not only that, I think they're incredibly important. I can't imagine a world without artists and without that creativity, and I think that that's what really makes this area special, is we've always tried to embrace that creativity, because I think that's how you create an amazing community. And the nice thing about it is also, I think that we had so many people that have incredible skill sets that may not be connected with a traditional art society or whatever, but they literally can provide a lot to make the area better. So what we tried to do with artBOX, and that was done in association with Calgary Arts Development, is they realized that there was a really interesting creative class out here. And we wanted to create an area where we could connect the artists with other people, so entrepreneurs, residents, whoever, and make it so then there was a space for them to be able to connect together, to showcase what they're doing, and it was incredibly successful. Unfortunately, the funding for artBOX did fade away, but what's nice is we're continuing to build that. And particularly, we now have a great group that has moved in called Fuse 33, which are a makers group. They will be heavily connected with the artists as well. I think also, you know, I think that everywhere that you go, you should be able to experience art. If it's on a bus stop, if it's on a business wall, wherever it is, I think it makes life a lot more full for people, and also speaks so many different languages to so many people.
Okay, I think we're ready to take some questions. Are there some questions from the public? I'm just checking with my behind-the-scenes producers here. No questions? Okay. If you have any questions, please post them now. I know we have some people moderating the conversation. Let's ask. I want to know what's your superhero power? If you had a superhero power, what would it be?
I think my superhero power is that I don't take no for an answer very easily. I'm a very stubborn person, and I see injustices, and I feel that they need to be corrected. So I've often felt that this area was not given the same view that it would if it was in the west part of town. So I've always tried to make sure that these people and our communities are listened to, that they get a fair shake on everything. And so I would say that it's literally, I think it's tenacity. You always take 5 steps forward, 3 steps back, 5 steps forward, 3 steps to the side. It's that kind of stuff. Like you can't give up. You know what is often people probably don't have the, I guess, the stamina. And yeah, so because I represent my business community, and my businesses were always saying, you know what, we have to be very cognizant of our community, and we have to make sure that we're supporting them as much as we can. So as a result, we've always tried to be community focused, and hopefully we've done a good job with that.
Okay, here's probably a question that I think a lot of people have. Having worked in Forest Lawn, I always get this question. I've worked here for 4 years. Is like I have my own opinion about trying to say, inviting people to come to Forest Lawn and seeing the change that's happened here. But there's a lot of people in Forest Lawn. I think there's a sort of a push by the media too to like talk about Forest Lawn in a certain way. What do you say to those people that are saying, oh yeah, Forest Lawn, that crime, that it's so trashy, it's like it's run down. What do you tell people when they say that? Because I know you get increasingly frustrated with that too.
Well, I'll say that I actually think that has not been the norm of late, so I'm actually quite pleased that I think that is changing, and that whole way of looking at this area has totally changed. I've always sort of pointed out an incredibly, I think, basic point. When the media use Forest Lawn, they're actually speaking about Greater Forest Lawn. So there's an actual, I think, disconnect. When you look at Forest Lawn as a community, the actual boundaries, it's 8,000 people. When you look at Greater Forest Lawn, it's 50,000 people. So to actually pinpoint a community as a larger community, I think that it actually has not been realistic. And I think we've been pretty successful in trying to educate the media about that. So I don't think that that's the story for this area at all anymore. I think people are extremely excited. They see all the changes. They see the construction. I mean, it's literally construction city outside. I mean, you can't go anywhere without walking into all sorts of construction that's happening. So, and I will say we do a food tour, and people, once we've actually shown them the area, they're like, wow, this is one of the most amazing places in Calgary, and I'm coming back. So we think that, yeah, that's definitely changing.
I mean, we're launching this through Emerge Hub as part of our programming here at Emerge Hub. And so what do we want? What do you want to see from Emerge Hub? So Emerge Hub is this co-working space that we're trying to use in Forest Lawn as a way to incubate stuff. But what do you see as a long-term objective from this Emerge Hub project?
Well, let me first of all give a bit of background about why Emerge Hub actually happened. So Emerge Hub is actually under the International Avenue BRZ. It's one of our projects. But what we did a number of years ago is we looked into a CED project where we wanted to learn more about entrepreneurialism, and specifically ethnic entrepreneurialism. We also wanted to learn about what people liked about this area and what there were leakages for, so where people were shopping elsewhere. So we did a fair amount of research, but we also wanted to incubate new businesses, because we wanted to bring in or essentially help people that had a business idea to be able to realize that. So we had a phase 1 and a phase 2, and what was really interesting from that is that we found Not only is there 435 businesses on 17th Avenue proper, there's also over 500 home-based businesses. And we thought, wow, this is amazing. We're improving the whole street. We're making the area better. And we also want to make sure that the economics of the area is better. So can we help to somehow connect the home-based businesses with other people who are residents and live here and see how we can help them be successful? So that's really what a Merge Hub is about. Merge Hub is a co-working space where people who have a business or a business idea that are working fairly, at home or in an insular type environment, we want them to connect with other people. So perhaps maybe they want to grow their business. Can we help them with that? So we've brought in experts from, we have Momentum, Thrive, and Alberta Cooperative Association, who are all part of our team here. And we also want them to connect with existing businesses and how we can help to grow and create more jobs. And I have to say we're very pleased that we did receive funding from CARES, the Alberta Economic Development Office, and we feel that this is going to be a very important piece to the overall improvement of the economy within this east part of Calgary.
Cool. Okay, well, we have two questions here from our comments section. I'm not sure if you can answer this, but maybe you can just give us some insight. Is that I've noticed 2 elementary schools closed down in the Greater Forest Lawn area. Do you know if they plan on rebuilding any new elementary schools to replace them?
Actually, I'm very familiar with that because many years ago, there was discussion that they were going to close down elementary schools, and I specifically met with the team that was doing that, and I said, when you start closing down elementary schools, you have essentially cooked our goose. It means that we won't have any future growth, we won't have any regeneration. So you can't do that. So what actually happened is the two schools may have closed down, but they in fact made a larger elementary school that they brought in. And the reason why they had to be closed down, so I'm talking specifically Albert Park School, which was closed down, and David D. Outen. David D. Outen had mold. It had issues. The building was substandard. Albert Park was also not, like the building actually needed to be redesigned. So that's what created the new school that's up on 28th Street that actually combined both of those. So we were able to actually save a number of schools because we actually said to them that you'll kill this community. So we still have the same amount of opportunities for classes as we would with those 2 schools gone.
Here's another question. Can you speak to the vitality and upward trend on the avenue and what is new? And I think Alice has already spoken a little bit about it, but maybe just...
Sure. Well, lots of interest. We're getting many businesses that want to relocate here that are looking for spaces, so we're certainly trying to connect them with that. I think what's always new and exciting is our food scene. We have, as I mentioned, 435 businesses in the area, but well over 30% are food related. And so we always have many different things happening in the food industry out here. So if you think about it, it's over 130 businesses that are food related. So if you want to know what's new, food is always new on this street. You will definitely always find something new and exciting in the food scene. Recently we had we have a new Persian bakery that's opening. I'm extremely excited. We also have a restaurant that is mainly shawarma, but not only that, they're also doing traditional Middle Eastern dishes that you often won't see. So it'll be traditional shish kebab, it'll have marga, it'll have stews and fragrant rices and things that you would find that normally takes days to prepare because that cuisine is actually quite labor intensive. So I think also you'll find an area for, we have the only Uzbekistani restaurant in all of Western Canada, which is so exciting to me. And when people walk in and try that food, they are blown away. So that's Began Restaurant. And so we're getting a lot of the interesting cuisines that you would not find anywhere else in Western Canada located here. And we're very excited about that.
It's noon. I'm getting hungry. All right. So, Alison, if we're sitting here a year from now, and we're celebrating what a great year you've had in this role and on International Ave. What will you have achieved in this coming year?
This coming year? Well, I think that we've grown considerably. Our staff size has grown. As a result, we've been able to deal with some of the crucial issues that I think will make a fabulous, outstanding place to be. But I also think within the next year, we're going to see a lot of growth in terms of new businesses and actually people getting wealth and much better economics for the district. So I think that's what I hope is going to be our main outcome. And frankly, I'd like us to get through the construction and for people to see the amazing new street that's actually going to be on here. There's been well over, I'd say, 15 years of actual work and study on what would make a perfect street. We think we're pretty darn close, so hopefully we can make that happen. Also, I did want to mention that we have been quite instrumental in helping to reduce some of the businesses that people feel have been negative for the area. So those being cash stores and things like that that actually contribute to the cycle of poverty. We've worked with our team from Momentum and a number of community groups to help to make sure that Bill 51 was passed. So we're also very excited about that.
It's exciting. Just checking with my producers here. Do we have one sort of final wrap-up question that we can maybe use?
We just have some, but maybe explain Bill 51 a little bit.
Yeah, what is Bill 51?
Bill 51 is essentially targeted, they call it predatory lending of cash stores and payday loans. The problem that we were able to actually tap into is not only do these stores actually pay top rental rates, which actually artificially raise the rental rates for across the board for an avenue per se, but not only that, because people are using non-traditional financial institutions like payday lending, it means that they have to pay a lot back that is quite unbelievable in a 30-day time period, plus the administration fees and all that kind of stuff. It takes a fair amount of their actual payment to actually keep this, to actually get the money. So we were actually working with financial institutions. But what Bill 51 was, is it was passed by the Alberta government to essentially lower the interest rate that they charged. So the maximum, I believe, is 17%. And so that's well within line. And that also that payday loans have up to 60 days to be paid back. So then people are not kept in a situation where they actually become destitute as a result.
Okay, well, we have two more questions, two final questions from our viewers here, both sort of, understanding a sort of relationship between business and arts. So let's ask this one here. What are your thoughts about Global Fest talking about moving out of Greater Forest Lawn area? I haven't actually heard anything about this.
I find that actually quite ironic, since we actually helped to Global Fest to come here in the first place. When Global Fest was actually part of the Calgary fireworks, they didn't have the multicultural component. And at the time, we had a great leader with the International Avenue Arts and Culture Center named Doug Laughlin. And him and myself were talking about how, in fact, it would be great to showcase a number of the cultures. And just by coincidence, the chairman of the Fireworks Society actually was working for an economic development agency and came to interview me about BRZ matters. And he did mention, just as a wherewithal, we tried to get, the fireworks out here in East Calgary, and we were turned away. The community didn't want us, all that kind of stuff. And I said, "You're kidding, that's amazing, I can't believe it." So anyway, we helped them to connect with the community, to reassure the community that it would be a good thing, and also to make sure that the multicultural component of, a One World Festival happened. So them wanting to grow and move, I think is short-sighted on their part, and certainly I think it's a bit of a slap of the face into our community. But that being said, I think that we have many amazing things on why Global Fest works so well in this area, and it's mainly because of the water retention pond. When you have a still pond and fireworks, the pyrotechnic artistry that you see is two-dimensional. So not only is it three-dimensional up there, but you're also seeing the mirror effect on the actual Elliston Park stormwater pond. So I think that also because it's a natural amphitheater, I think that the support that they've received, I don't think they're going to see anywhere else. And so I'm not really sure that they are going to relocate. I think that they're just hoping that they can potentially get more money and more support from maybe some of the city agencies that are making them size their place down.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about sort of downsizing funding for the arts, and there's been a lot of contentious talk about public art and the way that the municipal government handles public art in Calgary. I think we have one last question here from, I know, a former resident of Forest Lawn. Tito,
and we want him back.
And we want him back, yeah. Tito Gomez. His question is, and I might have to paraphrase this, that you've managed to pick amazing artwork to display along the avenue. Can you speak to what you've done differently that's different from the way that maybe the city of Calgary has, the public art department has done?
Absolutely, I can speak to that very well. I did not pick the art. I wish I don't need to pick the art. The art was picked by whichever community that we were focusing on. So if it was the seniors and the historical mural, we did not pick the artists. We had 3 artists. We did a call for artists. We actually created a core committee that was made up of the principal stakeholders of that group. And each artwork and each artist was picked by whatever group it was. So with the Portuguese community, they picked the artist, they picked the subject matter, they were involved in that. It's not up to us to pick the art that's representative of their community, and I think that's where it makes a big difference. We also wanted that whoever they did pick had to be a local artist. We felt that that was extremely important, because if we're not showcasing what is amazing about Calgary, then we probably shouldn't be doing public art, in my mind. I think that we have many amazing artists, and often they don't get the opportunities of elsewhere. So I think what's exciting about our mural program is that we provide the dollars, but the community actually is the ones who decide the subject matter. We do not get involved unless there's a tie. Then we stand up and say, okay, if you guys have 50-50 here, 50 there, then we bring our committee in, our core committee, and we'll make the final decision. But we've never had to do that. It's always been the community that has chosen it, of whatever community it is. And I will state that I think one of the most amazing amount of stakeholder engagement we had was with the Aboriginal community and the very exciting Indigenous mural that we unveiled a number of years ago. And even the core committee itself was 12 people from key Indigenous organizations. And then well over hundreds of people were actually within that community were asked what they wanted to see. So what was really surprising to me when I actually met that committee is I said, wow, you guys have such incredible amount of interest in this. And they go, yeah, well, you know, no one's ever asked us before. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is just a basic thing. So I have to say that that was one of our proudest moments, I think. And hopefully they still are very happy with that piece of art, because we feel they're a very important part of our community, as everyone is within this area.
One final question, it's more of a fill in the blank. We're going to try to ask this to everyone that has an interview here with the ChangeMaker Live series. Finish the sentence. Calgary is
the best place in the world to live and do business.
Cool. Thank you, Alison. It's been great listening to you to talk about your successes here with International Avenue and all the different branches of things and the projects that International Avenue has done. Just an update to keep you updated on. Oh, we got a light bulb. We got a light bulb. Ding.
Bring your ideas.
Grow your ideas.
Grow your ideas. If you just stay with me here, Alison, I'm just going to update the people. So there's some a number of events happening at Emerge Hub. Exactly what Alison said, grow your ideas. So September 14th, we have Designing for Change, a lunch and learn. So just bring your lunch, and there'll be a facilitated 1 hour meeting with talking about how to design for change. And that might look like different things depending if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an artist, or if you're just a citizen of the world. September 21st, what is community economic development? Lunch and learn. So we're just going to talk about what is community economic development. September 18th, we're starting these things a Monday morning yoga. We thought that it's helpful for the spirit, and that it also helps staff and people sort of to change their mindset and start the week off right. So Monday morning yogas with Mark. Monday morning yoga with Mark. And September 28th, we have a special event called Brewing Beats, and this is in conjunction with the Pan-Canada nationwide Culture Days that's happening also here in Alberta, Alberta Culture Days. So come meet some strangers, some neighbors, some artists, and members of the Emerge Hub community while listening to the newest Calgary DJ talent. If you're a DJ and you're interested in just coming out and playing a 30-minute or 20-minute jam and meeting other DJs, and we'll provide the decks, and you just bring the music. And if you're not a DJ, come on down, and we'll be serving some beverages, and you can meet some of the community and also exchange some topics, because we believe in people, and maybe out of that will come some collaborations and new ideas. So that'll be on September 29th, which will be Culture Days. Anything else that?
I just want to mention, I think you have a sponsor for those beverages, don't you? Is it Dandy?
Are we announcing that? Yeah. It's an unofficial. It's an unofficial, official. We're trying to support. We're trying to support local, and we do have Dandy Brewery in our fridge here. So, and if you come
only to open when needed.
Yeah, only when needed.
In emergencies.
Yeah. So we'll have some beverages for all of you. Some Dandy Brewery for all of you. Okay. www.internationalavenue.ca if you want to find out information about International Avenue and the huge development that's happening here. And when's that going to be done?
We're anticipating September 2018. We have a fairly large unveiling that will happen, so
okay.
Stay tuned. But you're welcome to come now. Even though we have construction, we're open for business.
Businesses are open, absolutely. You can read about Emerge Hub, what we are, all the services that we provide, and also register for a monthly newsletter where you're going to get details about opportunities and programs that we offer here at Emerge Hub. And you can do that all at www.emergehub.ca. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now YouTube with our ChangeMaker Live series. With the handle @Emerge Hub YYC. Emerge Hub YYC. We'd love to continue the conversation after this online with all of you. And please, of course, like Alison said, we're open for business, so please come on and visit. Thank you for everyone who tuned in live or watched this interview after the fact, after it's recording. We look forward to introducing you to more Calgarian changemakers here in Calgary who are making a difference. Thank you for everyone to join this inaugural series, and we will catch you next time. Bye.
That was awesome. That was so good.